Hello, Darius here. This is, I believe, the fourth video in the series on self-esteem. In this video, I will be talking about how self-esteem, the ability or inability to accurately estimate yourself, develops. If you haven't seen the previous videos, I suggest you to go back and watch them first. So, how self-esteem develops. When we are small children, we don't have a very sharp sense of self. We are little, we are relatively incompetent, our brain is still developing, we are new to this world, we are dependent on our caregivers. So we need a, let's say, metaphorical mirror to see ourselves properly, for somebody to mirror our experiences, our emotions, our needs properly. And because of all of that, we need mirroring, we need validation and acceptance from our caregivers. So these things, mirroring, validation, acceptance, assurance, clear view of the world, clear view of yourself, is important for a couple of reasons. Firstly, it helps a child to understand himself or herself better and develop a healthy, or at least healthier, sense of self and the ability to evaluate yourself more accurately, because you are accurately validated and accepted by your caregivers. So you learn that. And that way, by extension, you learn how to accurately, objectively evaluate others. So this is important, this is very useful and necessary. And most importantly, mirroring, validation, and acceptance helps the child to feel safe in this world. Things like lack of attention, emotional withdrawal, cold stares, overriding of a child's emotions and experiences, manipulation, minimization, not to mention neglect, abandonment, and more severe forms of abuse like beatings or sexual abuse. All these things coming from a caregiver, directly or because of their failure to protect the child, for a child is equal to a death sentence. It's the same thing for a child. A child is completely dependent on their caregivers to survive in this world, and they can't risk lose this bond. They just can't risk it. So anything that threatens this bond, a child's bond with their caregivers, is highly stressful to a child. And to get their caregivers' approval, to get their love and acceptance, which is literally vital for a child, they have to obey and adapt to anything their caregiver throws at them. And this means not being yourself. This means not getting your true feelings and experiences validated, not getting your true needs met, not getting properly nurtured. This means stress, hurt, injustice, confusion, dissociation. This means trauma. This is very traumatic for a developing mind, for a developing human being. That's exactly why many of us, if not all, when we grow up, have self-esteem issues, we have insecurities, self-doubts, we feel a constant need for external validation, we are emotionally dependent on others, we feel lost and confused in the world, we think and act impulsively or compulsively or irrationally, we have numerous fears, we act self-destructively or hurt others, and so on. We, in various different ways, act out our unprocessed and unresolved feelings and experiences from our past, from our childhood, in relation to others in the present. So if we don't get mirroring, validation, acceptance, and freedom to be ourselves when we are developing, our emotional and psychological development gets stunted, and later in life we don't know how to evaluate ourselves properly, and our feeling of self-worth is distorted because we didn't learn how to do that. We didn't learn how to evaluate ourselves. We lacked mirroring, we lacked acceptance, so we didn't learn how to do that. And we, in many ways, as adults, feel like small children still. Parts of us are psychologically and emotionally stuck at a particular developmental stage, at a particular developmental stages, at particular moments in the past. So we still feel like a little child who needs somebody to constantly tell us or show us that we are valuable, that our emotions, our experiences, our preferences, our needs are just, acceptable, and valid. And even if we get that from other people as adults today, deep down we are still not sure whether this is true or not, whether this is okay or not, and we constantly crave that again and again and again. But at that short moment, at least at some level, for some time, we feel as if our parents have finally accepted us and validated us and they really love us. That's why we crave that so strongly, validation from others as adults. And on the other side of the same coin, we feel extremely terrified if somebody says something negative about us. It triggers in us all those terrifying and painful feelings we felt when we were children and our caregivers rejected us, devalued us, and hurt us. So either way, we project our relationship with our caregivers, with our authority figures when we were children, onto people today, and we reenact the same dynamic with the hope of changing the past and getting what we didn't get as children. This is, of course, unnecessary anymore, and most importantly, this is impossible to achieve because we are not this small, helpless, scared, hurt child anymore. Even if sometimes it feels like it, and even if sometimes our body reacts as if this is true. And it's impossible to change the past by anything we do in the present. And we can't change what happened to us or get something today we didn't get when we were children. But if we haven't processed all of this, if we haven't processed what happened to us when we were children and in our relationship with our primary caregivers, that's exactly what we unconsciously do as adults. But when you process what happened to you when you were a child, when you connect with your self that you more or less had to give up as a child to survive, when you separate your child self that you once were from this adult self that you are today, then you get the feeling of self-worth back. And you start to trust yourself, you start to love yourself again, and you learn how to evaluate yourself objectively and accurately. And you don't need other people's validation anymore, and other people's opinions don't matter that much anymore to you. And you don't cling on to others, you don't push people away without a reason, and so on. But this process is very difficult. And it may take months or years or even decades, and especially in the beginning, it may be very unpleasant and scary. But however, there's no shortcut to it, there's no quick fix to it. So either you choose this path or you don't. And many people don't do that. And then they reenact the same horrors, the horrors of their childhood onto their own children. Hence the society we live in. But that's a topic perhaps for another time. And all I can say from my personal experience and observations is that this path of healing, introspection, self-work, and growth, self-archeology as I call it, is worth every penny, is worth every minute and every uncomfortable thought and emotion. It is priceless to me. and the rewards are magnificent. I can't even tell you. I wouldn't change it for anything. So I hope this video was helpful to you. Thank you for watching, and see you when I see you.